Hi guys, Phil from Miller Champion Hall here, and I'm pleased to say that we're with not one of India's cricketing legends, but one of the world's cricketing legends, all-round nice guy, Rahul Dravid. Rahul, it is my pleasure to meet you. You are one of my heroes in cricket.
Thanks. Thank you.
The scourge of many an Australian cricket fan. But anyway, it is an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
So Rahul, thanks for popping into M&H. Rob's done a couple of bats for you boys. I believe he's done a bat for you in the past as well. Yeah. And it's absolutely fantastic to see you back here. So Rahul, just for our fan base and our followers and our supporters and our customers across the UK and across the world, obviously a cricketing legend, a test cricketing legend and a cricketing legend in general. Nickname was?
Well, I like Rahul actually.
The nickname that I remember was the Wall. Rahul Dravid would bat extremely long periods of time, great concentration, great discipline, and obviously a great technique. But Rahul, you transition out of Test cricket into coaching now. Just tell us a little bit about how you got out of cricket after playing cricket into what you're doing now.
Well, I played cricket for a long time and absolutely loved it. It was a huge honour and lucky really to do something that started off as something I just loved and a hobby and make it a profession for so many years of my life. But yeah, there's a time comes when you know your body can't cope and you're mentally not there, and there's a new generation of young cricketers coming through, so it's time to move on. Spent a few years after that away from the game, well, not away from the game, but trying out different things. Commentated for a while, did a little bit of work at the IPL franchises, coached a bit. And then finally settled down on sort of coaching as something that I sort of try and like to do, at least over the short term. Something I enjoy working with young people, enjoy till the body's healthy. It keeps you on the ground, it sort of keeps you sort of leading an active lifestyle as well. So it's nice, and really enjoy working with a lot of the younger group of players. So I work with India A and the under-19s as well. Yeah. So got a lot of young kids coming through the system, very interesting stages in their careers as well, all aspiring to play for India. So obviously very talented young players, but also huge challenges as well at that age group, because they have a huge future ahead of them as well, but a lot of uncertainties as well and a lot of learnings to take on. So just using my experience to try and maybe create a good environment for them, and an environment in which they can learn and grow and develop, and hopefully pass on some of my experiences to them. And just try and create a good sort of pathway and a good system.
And talking about challenges, from my coaching experience as well, one of the challenges that I found from coaching, particularly promising youngsters who might be in Australia at a state level, an age group level, over here county level, is the development of their game, particularly as batsmen, to be able to bat extended periods of time and move from a transitional phase from playing a limited overs type of cricket into an extended format of the game. Now, obviously, you were known for your powers of concentration, your ability to bat long periods of time, which is personally something that I think has gone out of the game a little bit, to be able to see guys who could bat for a day and a half. Just some thoughts from you, because obviously you were very successful, about cricketers who are looking to go into the next level, who obviously might want to play for England or whatever country they represent, in Test cricket, over an extended format. What sort of things do you think they need to be working on?
Well, you're right, and I think that is one of the challenges, and it's not only a challenge here or in Australia, it's a challenge even in India as well, because you're right, a lot of the junior age group cricket is limited overs formats, as you would expect. Kids are in school and colleges, so that's a challenge, and then to sort of move them on to the first class game is sometimes a bit of a challenge, but look, I think there's no substitute for actually practicing it or actually doing it. Every single opportunity you get to play a longer format version of the game, I think young kids should take that take that opportunity. It really is for coaches and especially at the developmental age, coaches, to create the environment that gives boys, especially the talented young boys, the opportunity to play in games which, even if they're not official games, at least practice games, or create sort of games that give them a chance to bat for longer periods of time, because there is no substitute to doing it. I think, and then when you get an opportunity in first class cricket, then you've got to bat, or even if it's at an under 19 level, if you get the opportunity to bat for a long period of time, then you've got to try and use that opportunity. And the more you do it, the better you get. You get a method, you get a system. Understanding what it is that allows you to concentrate for long periods of time is really important. I think one of the challenges is I think one of the big things really is to get to know yourself really well, because if you don't understand yourself and what makes you tick, I think it gets quite hard to, because it's hard to copy somebody else's method. I think you have to figure out what your own method is, and I think that's what we challenge a lot of the younger players, is to figure out what their method is. You know, as a coach or an experienced player, you can share your experiences, but what worked for you might not necessarily work for somebody else, right? So you've got to, I think at that stage, just challenge them to think for themselves. I think thinking for themselves is really, really important. But I think just as many opportunities as you can get to create that kind of environment where gives them a chance to bat for a long period of time is very, very important. Unfortunately, there is no substitute other than actually doing it.
And Rahul, just obviously, the transition, the transition of cricket, particularly over the last 20 years, we've seen a whole new dynamic of cricket in the advent of T20 cricket, the takeoff of the 2020 leagues around the world, the IPL, the Big Bash, the South Africa. There's 2020 cricket going on all over the world. There has been rumblings of concern about the state of the state of health, particularly for Test cricket. Talks about moving to 4-day Test matches. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think so. There are some parts of the world where I think the fear is genuine. That the Test cricket is not drawing the crowds and the support that it probably used to in the past. Places like England, Australia, and to some extent in India as well. I think it's in pretty good health. But yes, I think in some other parts of the world, it is become a little bit of a challenge to get more and more people to watch and come and support Test cricket. And I think that's sad. That's something I think we need to try and do more of. A country like the West Indies, and we're here playing the West Indies A, and West Indies is such a powerhouse of the game in the past in the 4-day format, in the sort of 5-day format of the game. Some great players, absolute legends, and they're struggling to. They still got some very talented players, very good players, but struggling to put together consistently good teams over a stretch of period of time. And I think that's disappointing. So I think a lot more needs to be done to try and help and promote Test cricket as much as we possibly can. The other formats of the game are going to be there and they're great. I mean, the white ball cricket is there; it's great. Test cricket is something that I'm passionate about, and hopefully, the more and more Test cricket we can play, the better we can market it. Play it at different times, whether it's in the night, day-night cricket. Yes. So different things that we might be able to do in different places that might work, and not all of them will work in every country. But I think the more and more people we can get attracted to Test cricket and playing Test cricket again, the better it is.
Okay, and obviously heavily involved with coaching now, and I imagine as a mentoring role as well. You said that you've been involved in the IPL and things like that. So from your point of view, working with India, and without trying to put you on the spot here or anything like that about what you'd like to do, the development of cricket in India, obviously cricket is the #1 sport in India. So we talk about different countries like Australia, New Zealand. Here in the UK, cricket is competing for resources, that being people, to actually try and play the game. In terms of governing bodies and at grassroots level, how do you think we might make cricket more attractive to a younger generation?
Well, I think making it attractive in schools. I think that's one of the big things, is to try and make it a part of almost the school curriculum, because it's hard and becoming more and more difficult, I think, for parents to be able to find the time or the resources to be able to take children out of their schools and give them access to the sport. But the more and more access you can provide to children in schools, the better it is. A lot of cricket in India is played at the school level. There's the inter-school competitions. I think that really, for me, is the key, because if you get children hooked onto the game at a young age, then they are going to stay on the game, even if they don't play the game, but they stay on to the game as supporters or spectators or followers, and they're equally important as well. So it's really important, I think, that to catch them young and to really start at the school level, and as many resources and facilities that we can put into getting quality of games or coaching at a school level, I think makes a big difference.
And speaking of resources, with Miller Chapman Hall being cricket bat makers, I have to ask you this. In your playing time and even now, what were the sort of things that you look for in a cricket bat that you would go out to bat with?
Look, I was very lucky. Back home in India, we had some of the best, sort of really good bat manufacturers and good people to work with, people like SG, and obviously coming here and seeing the way people make bats. I've always been passionate about bat making. I'd love to see how bats are made, and just love watching the way people sort of construct bats, and obviously having used it all my career. It's really an art, and it's a fantastic art, and it's something that keeps this game going. And for me, really, what was really important in a bat for me was just balance. I like to use a light bat. A lot of my other teammates like to use slightly heavier bats, but for me, a light bat was really important.
When you say light, do you have what sort of weight?
I was a 2.8, maybe maximum 2.7, 2.8
Okay.
at best, and we had so I think for me really the quality of the wood was very very important. When you use a lighter bat, then getting the right wood. But look, I think in the end of the day, I think you're lucky when you get to play first class cricket or you play test cricket. You spoil for choice a little bit. People do give you a lot of bats to choose from. But yeah, as young kids, I always advise a lot of our younger kids to start with a bat that's really light, because I think if you can start with a light bat and get a bat, even as a young kid, get a bat that's specifically made for you, that makes a big difference, because a lot of the bats, otherwise, if kids start using heavier bats when they're young, it does affect technique, it does affect the way you play the game. So, using a light bat as a youngster, I think makes a really, really big difference.
Excellent. And Rahul, I can't let you go. I won't keep you for much longer, because involved in a game going on at the Cooper Associates County Ground here in Taunton against West Indies A. Just a couple of questions. I've never met you before. I spent many hours in the hot sun watching you bat, wishing that someone would let you off, but it never happened. But just a couple of questions so people can know a little bit more about you. Your biggest influence growing up in cricket?
I'd say my father was someone who loved the game, followed the game. So he's the one who introduced me to the game, who took me to the grounds. I watched, there was no television those days, so you're sort of listening to the radio and commentary, and he'd tell you stories about the great players or the great grounds, and you're hearing all of that on the radio and sort of hoping one day you may be able to play in those grounds. And I was privileged and lucky to be able to do that. So I'd have to say he's someone who really was my earliest influence and someone who introduced me to the game.
Your favourite player growing up?
I'd have to say Surili Gavaskar, Kapil Dev and G.R. Vishwanath were three big heroes of mine growing up. People I grew up admiring. Gavaskar was a great batsman. Kapil Dev was, obviously a legend at that time, and G.R. Vishwanath was the hero, the local hero from Bangalore, who we all heard stories about growing up. So yeah, these are the three. I think as a young kid growing up, these are the three posters I probably had on the walls of my bedroom.
Okay. Your favourite ground to play on?
Lords. I just love playing at Lords. I think it was a great venue. Played my first test match there, so always loved Lords. It's a special place to be in.
Fastest bowler you've ever faced?
Oh, tough one. I'd say it's a close contest between Brett Lee, Alan Donald and Shoaib Akhtar, and you could have put in Shane Bond there as well, though I didn't play him that much. I played him in only a couple of test matches, but he was quick.
The most difficult bowler you've ever faced?
Oh, can't pick one. I think you'd have to sort of, I'd say, there were I was privileged to play against a lot of great bowlers, so hard to pick one, but I'd have to say the best fast bowler I probably played against was McGrath, because I played him at his peak of his career. I mean, there were others like Ambrose and Wasim and all of these guys who I played, but I played McGrath probably at the peak of his career, so he's probably one of the best fast bowlers I played. Muralitharan and Vaughan, probably the two greatest spinners that I had played against. Both absolute legends and fantastic bowlers, and got me out many times.
And just on that, just breaking away from that, talking about playing speed, something that younger cricketers find it difficult. Just quickly, any tips about playing slow bowling, playing good slow bowling, and playing it well?
Well, it's hard to sort of. If I were to say something in one or two sentences, I think it's important to have options against spin and not get bogged down. So you need to be able to put a bad ball away.
Yes.
I think what puts a spinner under pressure is if you can, when he does drop short or he does overpitch slightly, you've got to be able to put him away and find the gap, because that puts the pressure back on him. But if you let the pressure build up, after a point of time, then you're probably going to play a shot to a ball that's not there because of the pressure built up. So being able to rotate the strike, being able to hit the boundary, put him under pressure is important, and that goes back to then having the skills to be able to do that. So developing skills and options that give you the opportunity to do that.
And one final question. Your favourite moment or your favourite memory of cricket, and if you say when Steve Warren forced the follow on, I'm going to walk out now. But your personal favourite moment in cricket, you can say that one.
That was close. It was a really lovely day to be.
Google it.
That was it was good fun to bat a whole day with a really good friend of mine, VVS Lakshman. Yes. But no, I have to say the day I played my first Test match for India. I grew up as a kid dreaming of wanting to play Test cricket, and that was a dream. Absolutely, and to be able to do that and accomplish that and be a Test cricketer for your country was yeah, it was an absolutely special day, and it's something I can remember like it happened yesterday, even though it was a long, long time ago.
Well, Rahul, thanks for coming in. Great insight from a great mind, from a great cricketer, one of the legends of the sport. Rahul Dravid, great to meet you.
Thanks a lot, mate.
And we look forward to seeing you again. Wish you all the best.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Cheers.